Breaking. Manchester United approve Højlund exit as Sesko deal nears completion. Welcome to Unite United News, where we bring you the most reliable and comprehensive coverage of everything Manchester United. While other sources scramble to catch up with breaking news, we have been tracking every development in what is turning out to be one of the most dramatic transfer windows in recent memory. Today brings shocking news that will change the entire landscape of Manchester United's attack for years to come. The domino effect that nobody saw coming. Have you been wondering what would happen to Rasmus Højlund once Benjamin Sesko arrives at Old Trafford? The answer has come much faster than anyone expected, and it is more dramatic than most fans could have imagined. Manchester United have reportedly given the green light for Højlund to leave the club this summer, with AC Milan leading the race to sign the Danish striker. This is not just a simple case of making room for a new player. This represents a complete shift in Manchester United's attacking strategy and a clear indication of how the club views the future of their forward line. The decision to let Højlund go shows just how confident they are that Benjamin Sesko will be the answer to their goal-scoring problems. But what does this mean for a player who was supposed to be the future of Manchester United's attack? How did we get to this point so quickly? And most importantly, is this the right decision for both the club and the player? The rise and fall of Rasmus Højlund at Manchester United. To understand why Manchester United are willing to let Rasmus Højlund leave, we need to look back at his journey since joining the club. When United signed him from Atlanta for £72 million 2 years ago, he was seen as one of the most promising young strikers in European football. The expectations were enormous from day one. Manchester United had not had a reliable goalscorer for years, and fans were desperate for someone who could finally solve their attacking problems. Højlund was young, talented, and had shown great potential in Italy. Everything pointed to him becoming a star at Old Trafford. But football is never that simple, and Højlund's time at Manchester United has been much more difficult than anyone anticipated. In his first season, he showed flashes of brilliance but struggled with consistency. Injuries disrupted his progress, and he never quite managed to establish himself as the main striker. Last season was supposed to be his breakthrough year, but the numbers tell a disappointing story. Højlund scored just 4 goals in 32 Premier League appearances. For a striker who cost £72 million, these statistics are simply not good enough. No matter how you try to explain or excuse them, 4 goals in a full season is far below what Manchester United need from their main striker. The problem was not just the lack of goals. Højlund often looked isolated during games, struggling to link up with his teammates and create chances for others. His movement in the penalty area was inconsistent, and he missed several opportunities that you would expect a striker of his supposed quality to score. Why Manchester United are ready to move on. The decision to approve Højlund's exit might seem harsh, but it makes sense when you look at the bigger picture of what Manchester United are trying to achieve. The club cannot afford to wait indefinitely for young players to develop, especially when they have invested so much money and time in them already. First and most importantly, the arrival of Benjamin Sesko changes everything. Sesko offers Manchester United something that Højlund has not been able to provide. A genuine goal threat, combined with the physical presence to dominate Premier League defenses. At 6 feet 5 inches tall, Sesko brings a different dimension to the attack that could solve multiple tactical problems. Second, Manchester United need to be realistic about squad management. Having 2 young strikers who both need regular playing time to develop is not sustainable. One of them will inevitably suffer from lack of opportunities, which helps neither the player nor the club. By allowing Højlund to leave, United creates space for Sesko to establish himself as the main striker. Third, the financial aspect cannot be ignored. Højlund is still young and has shown enough potential that other clubs are interested in signing him. By selling or loaning him now, Manchester United can recover some of the money they invested in him and use those funds to strengthen other areas of the squad. Finally, there is the question of mentality and confidence. Højlund's struggles at Manchester United may have affected his self-belief and playing style. Sometimes a change of scenery is exactly what a young player needs to rediscover their best form. Moving to AC Milan could be the perfect opportunity for Højlund to rebuild his career. The AC Milan connection and why it makes sense. AC Milan emerging as the leading candidates for Hojlund's signature is not a surprise when you think about it carefully. The Italian giants have a long history of developing young strikers and helping them reach their full potential. This could be exactly what Hojlund needs at this stage of his career. Milan play in Serie A, which is the league where Hojlund first made his name with Atlanta. He knows the Italian style of football, he understands the tactical demands, and he has already proven he can score goals in that environment. Moving back to Italy could help him rediscover the form that convinced Manchester United to sign him in the first place. The reported structure of the deal also makes sense for all parties involved. According to journalist Sebastian Vidal, Manchester United have approved a loan move with an option to buy. This type of arrangement protects everyone involved while giving Hojlund the opportunity to prove himself once again. For Manchester United, a loan with an option to buy means they maintain some control over Hojlund's future. If he rediscovers his best form at Milan, United could potentially receive a good fee for his permanent transfer. If he struggles again, they have not lost him permanently and could explore other options. For AC Milan, the loan arrangement allows them to sign a potentially world-class striker without making a huge financial commitment upfront. They can assess how well Hojlund fits into their system and decide whether to make the move permanent based on his performances. For Hojlund himself, the move offers a fresh start and the chance to play regular football at a big club. He will be competing in Serie A and potentially the Champions League, giving him the platform to show what he can really do when given consistent opportunities. Hojlund's own words about his future. One of the most interesting aspects of this developing story is what Hojlund himself has said about his future at Manchester United. In a recent interview with the Daily Mail, the Danish striker made it clear that he wants to stay and fight for his place at Old Trafford. I think my plan is very clear, and that is for me to stay and fight for my spot whatever happens, Hojlund said. These words show that he has not given up on his Manchester United dream and still believes he can succeed at the club. He also emphasized his youth as a reason for optimism. I am still very young. People sometimes forget that. I am only 22 years old. I have learned a lot, and I think that shows in my game. This is a fair point. Many great strikers take time to develop, and 22 is still very young for a center forward. Perhaps most tellingly, Hojlund said he welcomes competition. Competition is fine with me. It sharpens me. I'm more than ready. I'm feeling sharp, so I'm welcoming everything that comes. I think it's good with competition. These comments suggest that Hojlund genuinely believes he can compete with Sesko for a place in the Manchester United team. He does not seem afraid of the challenge and appears confident in his own abilities. This attitude is admirable and shows the mental strength that top footballers need. However, there is often a big difference between what players say in public and what happens behind the scenes. Hojlund might be putting on a brave face while privately acknowledging that his time at Manchester United could be coming to an end. The timing of this decision. The timing of Manchester United's decision to approve Hojlund's exit is particularly significant. The move comes just as the Benjamin Sesko deal is about to be completed, showing how closely connected these two transfers are in the club's planning. This timing suggests that Manchester United have been planning this sequence of events for some time. They knew that signing Sesko would create a problem with Hojlund, and they have been working on solutions behind the scenes. The fact that AC Milan are ready to make an offer indicates that discussions have been ongoing for several weeks. The quick succession of events also shows how ruthless modern football can be. One day Hojlund is talking about staying and fighting for his place, and the next day reports emerge that his exit has been approved. This is the reality of playing for a big club. There is no time for sentiment when it comes to making tough decisions. From a practical standpoint, resolving Hojlund's future quickly makes sense for everyone involved. Manchester United can focus on integrating Sesko into the team without worrying about managing two competing strikers. Hojlund can start preparing for a new challenge rather than facing an uncertain situation. AC Milan can plan their own attacking strategy for the upcoming season. What this says about Manchester United's new approach. The decision to let Hojlund leave while bringing in Sesko tells us a lot about Manchester United's current approach to squad building. This is not the Manchester United of old, who would give young players endless opportunities to prove themselves regardless of results. This new Manchester United appears to be more pragmatic and results-focused. They have identified what they need in each position and are willing to make tough decisions to get the right players. If a signing is not working out as planned, they will cut their losses and try something different. This approach has both advantages and disadvantages. On the positive side, it shows that the club is serious about competing at the highest level and will not accept mediocrity. They are willing to invest in quality and make changes when necessary. On the negative side, it could create a culture where young players feel under enormous pressure to succeed immediately. If Højlund can be moved on after just 2 seasons, what message does that send to other young players at the club? The key for Manchester United will be finding the right balance between being patient with young talent and being ruthless about achieving results. This is one of the biggest challenges facing any top football club in the modern era. The financial implications of both deals. Let us talk about the money side of these connected transfers, because the numbers tell an important story about Manchester United's current financial strategy. The club spent £72 million on Højlund 2 years ago, and they are about to spend £73.7 million on Sesko. These are enormous investments in the striker position. If Højlund leaves on loan with an option to buy, Manchester United might not receive any immediate transfer fee. However, they would save on his wages and potentially receive a permanent transfer fee later if AC Milan decide to make the move permanent. The bigger picture shows that Manchester United are willing to write off their investment in Højlund if it means getting the right player in Sesko. This demonstrates either supreme confidence in their new signing or recognition that the Højlund transfer was a mistake that needs to be corrected. From a financial fair play perspective, these moves could be neutral or even positive for Manchester United. They are replacing one expensive player with another, but if Sesko proves more successful, the investment will be justified by improved results on the pitch. The key question is whether Manchester United can afford to keep making expensive mistakes in the transfer market. Every time they sign a player for big money and then have to let them go without recovering the full fee, it limits their ability to strengthen other areas of the squad. How this affects team chemistry and morale. One aspect of this situation that should not be overlooked is how it affects the rest of the Manchester United squad. When a player who was supposed to be the future of the club is moved on so quickly, it sends a message to everyone else in the dressing room. Some players might interpret this as a sign that no one is safe and that everyone needs to perform at their highest level to keep their place. This could create a positive competitive environment where everyone pushes themselves to improve. Others might see it as evidence that the club is too quick to give up on players and does not provide enough support for those who are struggling. This could create anxiety and fear among younger squad members who are still developing. The way Manchester United handle Højlund's departure will be crucial for maintaining positive relationships with the rest of the squad. If they treat him with respect and help facilitate a move that benefits his career, it shows they care about their players as people. If they push him out harshly, it could damage their reputation among current and potential future signings. Sesko's arrival and what it means for Manchester United. While the focus of the story is on Højlund's potential departure, we should not forget that the root cause is the imminent arrival of Benjamin Sesko. This signing represents a complete change in Manchester United's attacking approach and could solve problems that have persisted for several seasons. Sesko brings everything that Højlund has not been able to provide: consistent goal scoring, physical presence, aerial ability, and the confidence that comes from success at the highest level. His 39 goals in 87 appearances for RB Leipzig show that he knows how to find the net regularly. More importantly, Sesko's style of play seems perfectly suited to the Premier League. His combination of size, pace, and technical ability should allow him to thrive against English defenses. He can score different types of goals and contribute to the team's overall play in ways that go beyond just putting the ball in the net. The fact that Manchester United are so confident in Sesko that they are willing to let Højlund leave shows how highly they rate their new signing. This level of confidence suggests they believe Sesko can be the transformational player they have been searching for. The broader context of modern football transfers. The Højlund situation is a perfect example of how quickly things can change in modern football. 2 years ago, he was one of the most sought-after young strikers in Europe. Today, he is being moved on to make room for someone else. This rapid turnover of players has become increasingly common at the highest level. Several factors contribute to this phenomenon. The pressure to achieve immediate success means clubs are less patient with players who need time to develop. The enormous amounts of money involved make every signing a high-stakes gamble. The global nature of the transfer market means there are always alternatives available if a player is not working out. For players, this creates both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, there are more chances to move to different clubs and find the right environment for their development. On the other hand, the margin for error is smaller, and players need to adapt quickly to new situations. The Højlund case also highlights the importance of making the right decision when choosing a new club. His move to Manchester United seemed perfect on paper, but the reality proved much more difficult. His potential move to AC Milan represents another chance to get it right. What Milan are getting in Højlund? If the move to AC Milan does happen, what exactly are the Italian club getting in Rasmus Højlund? Despite his struggles at Manchester United, there are still plenty of reasons to believe he could be successful in Serie A. First, he has already proven he can score goals in Italian football. His performances for Atlanta showed that he understands the tactical demands of Serie A and can thrive in that environment. Moving back to a league where he has been successful before could restore his confidence and form. Second, he is still only 22 years old with plenty of room for improvement. Many strikers take time to develop, and Højlund's struggles at Manchester United do not necessarily mean he lacks the ability to become a top player. Sometimes it is just about finding the right environment and system. Third, his physical attributes remain impressive. At 6 feet 3 inches tall, he has the size to compete with Serie A defenders, but he also has the pace to run in behind them. His technical skills are good, and his finishing ability has been proven at lower levels. AC Milan have a good track record of developing young players and helping them reach their potential. Their coaching staff might be able to identify and correct the issues that prevented Højlund from succeeding at Manchester United. The risk Manchester United are taking. While letting Højlund leave might seem like the right decision given his lack of goals, Manchester United are taking a significant risk with this move. What if Højlund rediscovers his best form at AC Milan? What if Sesko struggles to adapt to English football? What if injuries or other problems mean they need more striker options? The history of football is full of examples of players who struggled at one club and then became stars at another. Sometimes the problem is not with the player but with the fit between the player and the club's system. Højlund could potentially become a 20-goal-per-season striker in the right environment. If this happens while Manchester United are struggling to score goals with their new signing, the decision to let Højlund go will look very poor in hindsight. The club will have spent over £145 million on two strikers and ended up with neither of them. There is also the question of depth and competition. Even if Sesko proves successful, having only one main striker is risky. Injuries happen, form dips occur, and sometimes tactical changes require different types of players. By letting Højlund go, Manchester United reduce their options in a crucial position. However, the club's decision-makers clearly believe that the potential benefits outweigh these risks. They must be very confident in Sesko's ability to succeed and convinced that keeping Højlund would not serve anyone's best interests. The player's perspective. A career at a crossroads. From Rasmus Højlund's perspective, this situation represents the biggest crossroads of his career so far. At 22, he is still young enough to recover from his struggles at Manchester United, but he needs to make the right decision about his next move. Staying at Manchester United and trying to compete with Sesko would be the brave choice, but it might not be the smart one. If Sesko establishes himself as the main striker, Højlund could spend another season on the bench or playing limited minutes. At his age, he needs regular football to continue developing. Moving to AC Milan offers the chance for a fresh start at a club with a great history and tradition. Serie A would provide the perfect environment for him to rebuild his confidence and rediscover his goal-scoring form. Success at Milan could then lead to opportunities at an even higher level in the future. The loan structure of the potential deal also works in Højlund's favor. He gets the chance to prove himself without burning bridges with Manchester United completely. If things go well at Milan, he can either stay there permanently or return to England as a more mature and confident player. How this changes Manchester United's season preparations. The resolution of Hodgland's situation, combined with Sesko's arrival, completely changes how Manchester United will approach the upcoming season. The manager can now plan his tactics and training sessions knowing exactly who his main striker will be. This clarity is important for the rest of the team too. The wingers will know they need to practice crossing the ball to take advantage of Sesko's height. The midfielders will understand they need to create chances for a different type of striker. The defenders will know what kind of support they can expect when the team does not have the ball. Pre-season preparations can be more focused and effective when the squad is settled. Instead of trying to accommodate multiple players in the same position, the coaching staff can concentrate on getting the best out of their chosen striker. The timing of these moves also works well for Manchester United's season preparations. With Sesko arriving now and Hodgland leaving, there is still time for the new striker to settle in and get to know his teammates before the competitive games begin. The wider impact on Manchester United's transfer strategy. The handling of the Hodgland situation tells us something important about Manchester United's overall transfer strategy going forward. The club appears to be moving toward a more decisive approach where they are willing to cut losses quickly if signings are not working out. This could be positive if it means they avoid the mistakes of the past, where underperforming players were kept too long and prevented the club from improving. However, it could also create a culture where young players are not given enough time to develop. The key will be learning from what went wrong with Hodgland to avoid similar problems in the future. Was the issue with the player himself, the price paid, the expectation set, or the support provided? Understanding these factors will be crucial for future transfer decisions. Manchester United's willingness to invest heavily in Sesko while letting Hodgland go also shows they are not afraid to spend money when they believe they have identified the right player. This suggests there is still significant transfer budget available despite recent investments. Conclusion: a defining moment for multiple careers. The approval of Rasmus Hodgland's exit from Manchester United represents a defining moment not just for the Danish striker, but for everyone involved in this complex transfer situation. For Hodgland, it could be the fresh start he needs to fulfill his undoubted potential. For Manchester United, it represents a chance to finally solve their striker problems with Benjamin Sesko. For AC Milan, it could be the opportunity to sign a future star at a bargain price. At Unite United News, we have followed every twist and turn of this developing story, and we believe this outcome makes sense for all parties involved. While it is sad to see a young player's Manchester United dream come to an end so quickly, sometimes these difficult decisions are necessary for everyone to move forward. Hodgland's struggles at Old Trafford do not define him as a player or as a person. He is still only 22 years old with plenty of time to develop into the striker many people believe he can become. A move to AC Milan could provide exactly the environment he needs to rediscover his best form and build a successful career. For Manchester United, the decision shows they are serious about competing for major trophies and will not accept mediocrity in crucial positions. The arrival of Benjamin Sesko represents a significant upgrade in quality and the type of player who could transform their attacking play. The next few weeks will be crucial for determining how this story develops. Will Hodgland agree to the move to Milan? Will Sesko complete his medical and become officially a Manchester United player? How will both players adapt to their new situations? Whatever happens, this situation demonstrates the ruthless nature of modern football and the quick decisions that can change careers and club fortunes. At Unite United News, we will continue to follow every development and provide you with the most accurate and comprehensive coverage available. Keep checking back with us for all the latest updates on both transfers and everything else happening at Manchester United. This is exactly the kind of dramatic transfer activity that makes football so compelling, and we will be here to cover every moment as it unfolds. The next chapter of both Rasmus Hodgland's and Benjamin Sesko's careers is about to begin. Only time will tell which player makes the most of their new opportunity, but one thing is certain. This summer will be remembered as a turning point for Manchester United's attacking future.